So this is my closeout report on the employment contracts Dapp, and it's in the Grow Africa, Grow Cardano challenge. So to give a bit of context, this challenge was about projects or ideas that relate to Africa and the specific problems that face the continent. So the idea that I proposed was to deploy employment contracts using smart contracts. So the problem is that there's a lack of formal contracts, but even when there are formal contracts, it is hard for workers to find recourse if the employer is corrupt and just does not pay the workers at the end of the month, even if the workers actually showed up at work or produced to whatever standard is required by this firm. So the solution would then be to have smart contracts that get a feed directly from the let's say the firm, the industry where they are working by this they show up at work every morning, they leave at work after a long day, and they check out using, for example, some biometrics. However, there are some big problems with this that I discovered, and that is, so this is why this solution wouldn't work in short. The main one is that firms really lack incentives to adopt this platform. At the end of the day, if we're actually talking about a firm that has such a power advantage over workers, then they are the ones who can just choose not to pay the workers at the end of the month. But more importantly, you do not get a profitable advantage. And even if you are able to convince multinational firms to deploy such a platform to increase transparency, to increase the reputation, perhaps, these multinational firms will be very reluctant to show on a public blockchain exactly how much even their sub-suppliers are paying their workers. Moreover, there are other methods that are probably much simpler than using smart contracts to achieve very similar goals. So if we imagine that you have a country in which you do manage to establish some form of decentralized identifier, and or not even that, you're just linking mobile money to a specific individual, and you have some way of proving that this individual works at this plant, then you can easily structure a mechanism in which mobile money payment receipts are being sent every month to whatever headquarters of some large multinational company, along perhaps with some audits on a regular basis. So to sum up, the general problem is that you have a firm that's corrupt. Well, why would they want to limit their ability to not pay workers whenever it pleases them? Like, let's say they have some liquidity constraint, there are some problems in the firm, they are not going to be wanting to adopt this, nor will multinational firms want to do so. So instead, what I did was not instead, but I realized this, and that just meant that I had more time to contribute to the Catalyst process in other ways. So that meant that I have contributed with 8 Project Catalyst improvement proposals submitted to the Catalyst iterative Dropbox. I've also been very involved in the Telegram group discussing various improvements. With that said, though, I think the employment contracts Dapp might have some potential, but it lies very far away in the future when there's more infrastructure, and most crucially, there has to be a demand. There has to be pressure from the general public or some political will, very strong political will, to enforce or mandate that such transparency is obligatory by law for this to be even remotely feasible as a business venture or something that is worth spending a lot of time on at this stage. If you have any questions, please reach out, and please do engage with the improvement proposals, because that's how all of this is going to become an unstoppable force for greater good. Thank you.